Okay. Last question. Okay. Why do you want to be a committee member in MSA?
So well, I feel that ever since I got to America, I was really touched and encouraged by the MSA club itself. When I first got here, as I was saying, how Ming, welcomed me in, and how I felt like the home. And when I went for all the events by MSA, I felt like I was really happy and excited. Like, hey, we have a Malaysian. I'm very proud of Malaysians. Like, hey, we have a Malaysian club. I always like to brag about Penang and about Malaysia. So like, I want to be a committee because I want to instill this excitement I have and all this happiness I have, to other people. I want everybody to share the same excitement as I have, Like, hey, I'm not saying that Malaysia is the best, okay? We have a lot of flaws, but hey, I'm proud to be Malaysian and I want you to be proud. So I want to share my excitement, my enthusiasm to all of you. So that is one reason. And I also like helping out organize events. Like whenever there's an event, I really like helping out, like I know my flaws and I know certain stuff I'm not very good at. So I would not brag and say like, hey, I would not say I can do something which I'm not capable of. I'll just tell the truth, hey, I'm not very good at drawing. Okay? I'm just really bad at that. I don't think I can do that. But when certain stuff I say, okay, I can do the AV. If you need me to do the sound system, I can do the sound system. I like doing it and I can help do it, and I want to help out.
So for me, upon first arriving here, MSA itself really helped me adjust to life here, as with I'm sure every Malaysian in MSA. So it holds a special place in my heart, sadly to say. But I would like to give back to MSA as well as I think being involved in a leadership role, especially in the community that you're involved in, is very empowering because you feel even more involved rather than just being there. It's like you're taking charge, you're planning events, you're making sure everybody's together and cooperating and like just building that sense of community that's so special to me. I think it's one of the reasons why I want to be an MSA committee member.
So to that question, I'm already one of the MSA committee intern. I directly joined the club after coming here. So like MSA is really the first club that I've joined because I feel like this is where I belong. This is where I can connect with people, and this is where where my home really is. So why I joined it is because I really want to continue the legacy that MSA committee has instilled, especially the fact that they're welcoming, they're organizing events for their people, which is Malaysians, and I want to continue that legacy because I know that I want to serve Malaysians just like how the committee served me. I would do that for other organizations, but I feel like I would put more effort when I'm doing for some people that I can relate to, that I personally can feel for.
After this debate is over, what is one thing about yourself you would like us all to remember you for, and why?
I think that I would like to be remembered as a very committed and passionate person. I don't take things lightly. I don't do things half-heartedly. Once I commit myself, I will do the best that I can to fulfill my responsibility in that role. And I think that that's very important, not even in being in a committee, just in life in general. And I feel like I have that trait and I would like to be exemplified as that.
Okay.
So for me, I am really driven to my goals. I really want to, being here, like since young, I have always wanted to, achieve a lot of things. And I want to be remembered as someone who, is taken seriously, someone who can do her work, but also have fun. So yeah, I really like to have fun, and I really like to, connect with people. I want people to remember me as someone who cared, someone who really listened to your needs, someone who is willing to change some things, to cater to some needs. And I want to be remembered as someone who listens, who acts out what she speaks, someone who is true to her word, someone who is true to herself and true to everyone around her.
So I would like to say that I feel that I personally am like a people person, which I like people. Okay, that's what I like. I like food and I like people. That's one of the two things I really like. So I like talking to people and learning more about people. So I feel that I want people to understand if anything you're facing or anything, you can come up to me and talk to me. I'm not like some scary person. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit a bit tall and buff, but besides that, you can come up to me. You don't have to worry. I feel that I want to be a committee who, if you have any input, you don't have to be shy, and you don't have to say, oh, what if the person thinks like I'm very lame, or what if this idea is stupid. I will not judge. I mean, I know that's very cliche, or I don't judge, but I feel that I'm a person that will understand. If you want to say anything to me, you can just come up to me. I can like, hey, what's up, man? And you can just tell me anything you feel. So I feel that someone who can take in input, and I would definitely take into consideration. I wouldn't think like, oh, I'm superior to you, like, hey, I know this is lame. I will take everything into consideration. So I would like to see that I'm more of a person who is like understanding and will take every input in.
To add to my previous point, I believe that I'm a very task and people-oriented person. Like, I can be serious with, working on my projects, but I can also be very approachable. If people have problems, they can always come to me. They can always just hang out with me, chill with me. But when it comes to work, all of us need to be serious. So I'm the kind of person that says like, hey, when it's serious, let's be serious. When it's the time to play, let's just have fun and let's just be crazy. So yeah.
Okay. Last year, MSA tried to design and sell a MSA t-shirt to members. However, the shirts never happened because of the lack of support from MSA members. If you were to be chosen as president this year, how will you address this issue?
So I feel that the reason, I'm not sure 100% the reason, maybe people will say because of financial problem, but it's because same thing goes with you. Why do you buy a Nike shirt? Why do you buy a Nike shoe? Why do you do that? You're paying lots of money to get something. You're just promoting them. You're helping promote Nike by buying their stuff and wasting money. Why do you do that? Let me ask you. Well, it's basically because you like the brand. You like it. You're excited about it. Oh, Michael Jordan, or whoever is the basketball, whatever. You like all of this, okay? So same thing goes with MSA. The reason people do not do that is because people do not really have the enthusiasm. They don't really support MSA. If all of us, are in a committee like, hey, we really like MSA, we really love this club, I will buy a shirt. Hey, I want to show off, like, hey, I'm wearing this Wisconsin shirt. Why do I wear this? Because I'm a proud Badger. Like, I'm really proud of my university. If not, why would I wear this shirt, right? So this is one of the ways, which is like, we need to build up a committee where everyone enjoys it and loves each other, and like, I mean, not like love each other, but you get what I'm saying. Like, love each other as in like, we like our club, we are proud of it. Whenever people say MSA, oh yes, please come join MSA, and you know everything about the club. Like, hey, okay, we have meeting up every Thursday for nasi kandar or something like that. Which is something I would really see. This would really help. I feel this basically like that.
I like to think that the underlying problem to not being able to gain support from the MSA is because they don't feel like they belong and they don't really feel proud of the Malaysian Student Association. And this is something that the committee, the president, and should work towards. Really promoting MSA as a fun and loving community, a community where you can always that you can be proud of. MSA members should be shown that, hey, MSA is not just some lame club or some organization that I can go in and out of, but they need to know that we are serious about our club, we are serious about our identity as Malaysians, and we are serious about promoting and showcasing what we really are to the rest of the students. And it is also a part of our identity. A lot of people would mistake us from the meeting that we come from Korea, Japan, China, India, okay? So having this t-shirt shows that, hey, I'm not from here, I'm from Malaysia. And so this is a very good way to tell your members, hey, don't hide your identity, show people who you really are. And a lot of people say like, oh, I don't see a lot of Malaysian Student Association things around, So having a t-shirt would really showcase our association to the rest of the campus to show, hey, we are a great club. You know, we are a club that, you know, we have our own ideas, we have our own projects, we have our own events. So you can come join us, you know, like when you're wearing a t-shirt, you and your friends say, so what is this club about? And you can say, hey, join my club. It's a fun club. It's a really accepting club. It's a very inclusive club. You will really have the time of your lives here.
So I think there were a few problems with the execution of the t-shirt. So first of all, it was the lack of proper planning. Because what I remember is it was very messy. There wasn't like a structured marketing campaign. There wasn't a structured t-shirt design. It was just very like on-the-go patchwork, which I felt was a hindrance to the success of the project, I guess. And another one is the lack of, I wouldn't say promotion. Yeah, lack of promotion and just the overall messiness because from what I remember, it was just a Google form and like one announcement in an event. So I feel like you would have to project it more, market it more, and also the lack of commitment from the members because it's like if that person's not buying, why should I spend $17 on a shirt that nobody else is buying? Because so I feel like it's a very big problem. And how should we counter it? Maybe have a more structured plan, a more accessible design, as well as make people excited. Just don't say like, hey, there's a t-shirt, guys. Go and order it online. Just say like, hey, are you excited? We have a t-shirt. Then maybe have like some samples to show around and like make the community buy it or something. It's like just getting the word out there and making people engaged with the project.
Okay. How many of you all think that being the president will boost your resume to land a job far away from Malaysia, say halfway around the world? If you think being a president of MSA carries that much weight, why is that so?
Can you repeat the question?
How many of you all think being the president will boost your resume to land a job far away from Malaysia, say halfway around the world? If you think being a president of MSA carries that much weight, why is that so?
I don't think that, you know, being the president of the MSA will land you a job because that is not something that people look into exactly. People look at you overall. People look at, you know, your presentation, how you carry yourself, and other little things on your resume, and not just the president of Malaysian Student Association. I can strongly say one thing that I did not join. I did not, you know, like I did not, you know, run to be a president because I wanted to be on my resume, because I believe that, you know, everything that I do, I need to do it with like a clear and clean purpose. It doesn't, just because it looks good on my resume doesn't mean that I should join, you know, like, you know, I should run for president. But I really feel for MSA, I really feel like familiar with MSA. I feel like, you know, it is a community that I really want to grow in, even though I'm still young. And it is something that I really want to show the world that, hey, I'm proud of being an MSA member. And I wouldn't address myself as the MSA president, but I am really a member of this community.
So for me, in regards to the resume part of the question, yes, I believe that it's a resume booster, but not because, and it's not the reason why I'm taking up the post. Any involvement in any extracurricular activity is a resume booster. However, you don't join it because it's a resume booster. The reason I chose to run for the president of the MSA is because I believe that I have the skills that I have the skills to lead the committee and to make MSA better. I mean, not saying that it's worse now, but just improve on it. And yes, it's a resume booster. Yes, I don't think it carries. Okay, let me rephrase my statement. It will boost my resume, which might land me a job halfway around the world, but that doesn't mean I will lose my identity as a Malaysian. I think that's what the question is trying to get at. I believe that it holds a lot of weight because it is a leadership position, as with any extracurricular activity. So it's a self-improvement, it's a resume improvement, as well as a community improvement kind of field.
Alright. A lot of universities will usually have Malaysian Night or something similar to that. Do you think it's feasible to have something like that here, and why?
Most definitely. I mean, like, without a doubt, I believe that we are well capable of doing it. But again, I go back to saying that in order for that to happen, we have to have a change in the hearts of all the Malaysians here. We have the amount of people we need. You can have a Malaysian night with 20 people. It does not have to be a huge number. It doesn't have to be in a huge stadium. As long as you have people who want to do it, who have the heart for it, it definitely can happen. So most definitely, I would have to say yes. And in order to do so, is like I said, by changing the hearts of people, the mentality of how you see MSA. It's not like, oh, a cup that you have to pay $40 or $30 to join. Oh, I'm not even going to go for all the activities. That I know money is a thing, but that shouldn't be the main point of it. It's like, hey, this is my identity. My identity out of Malaysia. This is who I am. You can't run away from that. Yeah, I know we can have like an American accent, but who are we? We are from Malaysia. So having a Malaysian night is to say, hey, I'm proud of being a Malaysian. I'm proud of where I came from. Yeah, sure, we have a lot of problems in Malaysia, but that's where I'm from, and it doesn't matter. No matter how bad, sometimes parents cannot be the best of parents, but you still love them no matter what, because why? They are your parents. Same thing goes to Malaysia. In Malaysia is where you come from, and you should love Malaysia no matter flaws in Malaysia. So I believe yes, Malaysian night should happen, and we should definitely do it in the coming term.
So I think that yes, it is feasible to have Malaysian night here, because I think we have a great set of Malaysians here who would be very proud to showcase their talents, as well as I think it will be a great activity to develop our MSA's relationship with the campus as well as other MSAs, because from what I've gathered, a lot of the other Malaysians in other campuses are like, hey, why don't you guys have a Malaysian night? I want to come and visit Madison. So I think it will be a great fundraising, community building, as well as relationship building kind of event.
I think Malaysian night definitely needs to have food, because all of us love food, and that is what really brings us together. And I think Malaysian night should involve everyone as much as possible, so that people feel like, hey, I'm a part of this. I want to join this because I am capable of doing this. So Malaysian night should be a place where you can showcase your talents, not only the people who, like we have some mainstream people who can, who are always, in the front, always showcasing their talents, but really Malaysian night is for other people, people like underdogs. You guys should come out and step out and say, hey, I can do this. Hey, I can help you organize this. Hey, I can sing, I can dance. So this is a place where you should step up. This is an opportunity for you to shine. And if you're the joker of the class, maybe you love to dance. So it is a place for you, it is a time for you to say, okay, let me just do what I want, do what I'm passionate about. And that will inspire other people to do the same.
Okay. How do you plan to keep operations of MSA transparent? Let's say there were some transactions in an event. How do you make it clear to members that there was the exact amount that you spent?
I think the transparency issue is an important issue, because if you're transparent enough, people will trust you. You will build trust and rapport with other people. So in my case, if I were to do something, have a fundraiser, and I want to be transparent, I would actually post a spreadsheet. Of course, I would not, include every little detail, but I would include okay, so let's say this food is approximately this amount, okay? And then we will not show the profit for each food, but we will show the cost for each food and the profit that we make. And if other people, we're open to criticism, we're open to say, hey, I want to know more about how the funds are used. We are open to answering all those questions. But we will definitely not put every single detail online, because that's just too time consuming and that's not how it works. But if people are curious, we are definitely open to tell them how it runs, and if they need someone, they would say so this person who's in charge of this, can I talk to this person? Then yeah, you will let them know, hey, so Daniel was in charge of nasi lemak, or like Aaron was in charge of teh tarik, and like you can talk to him about the cost and all those.
Yeah, I would like to agree with Rhonda when she said that, you know, transparency does bring out, you know, people's trust. But I like to look at it the other way around, you know. I like to see that when you have a club, you know, who, you know, is a close family, right? You don't really bother, like, sometimes when you go out with your friends, you know, when you go eat, right? Sometimes he blanja you, like, you blanja him, you know. It's because why? You guys are like, hey, it's among family. So when you build up trust among each other, right? Yeah, of course, you have to make sure you have some sort of account, like, hey, when you do this event, you must have like a certain number of stuff. But it doesn't have to be like in super detail. No? If like there's everybody's asking you what you do in this super detail, it shows that the club does not trust you. They're wondering why are you doing the money. But when you have a club, when you build up the club, like, hey, we're aiming, okay, we're making all this money for Grad Night. And Grad Night is not just for me. As a community member, you know, it's for you, you know, for all of you. So when people understand and see this, yeah, of course, if you want to know more about our accounting, you want to know more, okay, sure, you can come and ask us. We will have to keep a detailed account. But we will not always show it because it's not necessary. And like what Rhonda said, it is sometimes time-consuming and unnecessary. But if you want to do it, yes, we will show you. But my way of approaching it is the other way around, where we build up trust so that you will see like, hey, what are we as a committee doing? We're doing this for you. We're not doing this for our personal gain. Yeah, okay, like what everyone we were talking about, how, oh yes, it helps our resume. But that's not the point I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for my resume. I mean, the resume is a side effect, a part of it. I'm running for this because I like Malaysians, and I like the club, and I want to help bring the club together, and I'm a big, great, happy family.
Okay, so regarding the transparency, I feel like as a committee, we should be transparent both with our accounts as well as our decision making. So regarding to transparency with accounts, obviously we can't release the whole budgeting sheet about an event. However, we can provide the members with a summarized cash flow statement, sorry to get technical, about like whether we made profit, how much did we spend on, and just to inform the members what are we doing it for, how much do we make, and what their money is going towards. Regarding decision making, I think the committee has to be very open about why they make decisions. They have to be open about their weaknesses. Maybe they did something, maybe they made a wrong decision, maybe they misstepped. So I think a very big part is being open with the organization about why you did it, what happened, and how you're working towards countering the problem. And I think the committee should be a very open, they should cultivate an open atmosphere where any member of the organization is free to ask any question regarding the decision making, regarding the accounts, and it should be answered.
I want to add something with what Paige said. So I want to say that we are definitely going to make mistakes along the way because nobody is perfect. Okay, so when we make a mistake, the first and most important thing is to admit that we made a mistake. We don't try to cover it up. When you try to cover it up, you lose the trust from people, and once you do that, right, that's going to be a big problem. So as a new committee, I feel that we would have to be very transparent and be very honest. When we make a mistake, we own up to it. You don't necessarily have to own up as an individual person. You can own up as a whole committee. Like, hey, we as a committee made a mistake. We are underestimated or we overestimated. But the point is, we should be honest, which is very important in order to keep everything flowing.
Okay. With the debate coming to a close, we will only be asking 2 more questions before opening the floor to the live audience. Okay, so the second last question is, do you think MSA events are more geared towards social events? What about events that promote intellectual discussion among Malaysians? How would you plan something intellectual that will get support and attendance from the members?
So I think MSA events are very social in the sense that most of the time we are celebrating something, whether it's a festival or just having fun. But I think we can develop more because as Malaysians, we are full of resources. As senior Malaysians, we are full of resources for incoming as well as existing Malaysians in terms of career advice and academic advising and stuff like that. So one of my ideas was we should make an internship panel asking established Malaysians who already gotten internships either here, either in Malaysia or here in the US, and what their tips and tricks and how they managed to go through the process. So I think it will be very helpful to the existing Malaysian student body. And how to get commitment? Well, we just have to broadcast that what we are doing is for the Malaysian community. It's not just because we want to throw an event and we want to add it to our roster. It's because we're doing it for the good of the community and it has a benefit to the community.
So I feel that when we say about MSA, mostly I think of social events. Okay, most of the time it's like what Paige say, which is celebrating an event. But I would have to say that having a social event does not necessarily mean you do not gain any knowledge. So like when you go for a social event, right, you guys hang out as a group together, or like what I was suggesting, we can meet every Sunday. From there, when you go like, hey, I talk to you and explain about, hey, okay, I'm actually applying for internship. I feel that social events does not necessarily just mean like having fun, but I feel that you can gain knowledge from this type of events. So yes, I agree with Paige that having like an internship panel is a very good idea. But I also feel that by just going for social events and with having people just coming together, and sharing the ideas and just talking, that is also a very great tool for everyone.
I think what my idea is that we do not need to purposely form something professional or very serious, but we can have something that is smart casual. Like it is professional, but it is casual at the same time. Because what I feel that if something is made very intentionally, you make something like, oh, if you want like advice, come here, come to this place. A lot of people would feel bored of it because we have so many of those on campus. We have so much advice giving centers and all. But I feel like what Daniel said, that it is really, like when you socialize, that's where you gain knowledge of what you want to know as well. But of course, not in every social context you can do that. What I would suggest is to have a really a nice social session where you can discuss ideas, and there will be an agenda. Let's say you're for business, you're from the business school, then you go to a group of business schools, Malaysian students, and you discuss, okay, what are the issues, like what problems are you facing academically, what subjects you should take, which lecturer you should choose, or if you're from the science stream, or if you're from even mass communications. As you go to these small groups of Malaysians who are, pursuing the same academic goal as you, and you discuss it with them in like a social context, you're not being very professional, you're not being very serious, but just a place for you to connect and to communicate your ideas. I think that would be very beneficial for all Malaysians, and it wouldn't be too awkward because you know everyone here. That is what I think.
Okay, great. So the last question before opening the floor to the live audience is, do you think it is important to develop partnerships with other MSAs in the region? If so, how would you go about doing it? What are possible challenges you foresee?
I think one of the challenges is if you are going to connect with like MSAs of other regions, you may strengthen your external relationships, and that may kind of take a toll on your internal relationships because a lot of your time is going to be focused on connecting with people from the outside, and maybe you will fall short of taking care of your own members, of listening to your own members. So what I feel would be good is that, yes, I think that TGM was a really great event. The promotion was good. Too bad I wasn't there because I had to visit my granduncle. But I think that was one great event that, it was like a once in a year event that, like you gather like people from all around, and that's where you can connect with people. But I don't think it should be like a consistent, like contacting them every week, every month. I don't think that is necessary. But of course, we need to communicate with others, and we need to socialize with other MSAs in this region to feel like another sense of belonging.
So I think that, yes, it's very beneficial for us to connect with other MSAs from other schools, because it's not enough to feel a sense of community in the Madison campus. You can even extend our community sense to UW Eau Claire, UW Milwaukee, any other UW, and even out of Wisconsin, like with Minnesota and stuff like that, because you can build a stronger sense of Malaysian community in the Midwest, maybe even in the US, who knows, but I think it's very beneficial. How we could do it, maybe we could have joint events at like certain campuses, or like have, joint events, collaborate more and stuff like that. And one of the challenges is maybe the distance might be a challenge, and as well as the outlook of the MSA in terms of goals, in terms of mission, and how the MSA is structured. So I think it would be a challenge, but yeah.
So I would say that I think that of course it is a very nice thing, if our MSA is friends with every other MSA around America, but that will be quite challenging just because of the distance, and we have our own community here. But I'm not saying that we should not be like close to them, but yeah, we should maintain the relationship, but not like a very strong one, in the sense that whenever example Minnesota is having like a Malaysian night, they send out invitation to us, and we obviously will like tell all the members, hey, Minnesota is having an event, and we can go, if we want to learn more, like maybe like the diversity here is not very big, and maybe like Minnesota's Malaysian Student Association is like bigger. I think Minnesota has a bigger association, so there are more events, then you can go, and it'll be really nice to have like, hey, something different, home away from home, away from home. Yeah, so that would be really cool. And but I don't think it's like a super important thing to like constantly, like every week, have like a meeting with them, because again, we are own community. This is us. We are our own self. They are them. Like we have a goal. Like, okay, for us, we want MSA people to feel like at home. For them, maybe it's more of like a intellectual perspective. So we have different goals. But sometimes if we want to meet up, we can align it to meet halfway. Be like flexible.
One thing to add to Daniel's point was, you do not need to intentionally really go and say, hey, let us have an event together. But I think one important point is that we can do this. We can connect with others by, let's say, promoting their events. When they have events, we support them. We go like, hey, do you need help? If you need help, just let us know. Or do you need more people to join? We can broadcast this to the rest of our members. Instead of constantly like planning, let us have one big, humongous joint event for all Malaysians in the Midwest. I think that just by building trust and building relationship through promoting their events, that would really increase this relationship that we have, and it will really strengthen the Malaysians to a newer level, instead of just having one big event for all Malaysians, because most of the time people feel left out in those kind of situations. So instead, we need to individually go to each university and say, hey, if you have any things that you want us to promote, we can help each other out. If you want something, we can help you. And if we need it, if we have an event, if we have Malaysian night, we hope you can come and support us as well, join us as well. Instead of making it a very big scale thing, I think it is good to individually approach each community in the Midwest instead. Yeah.
Great. So that was the final question. So now we open the floor to the live audience. All right, let's go with Jamie first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first off, I would like to applaud all three of you for doing this, because I understand that you take tremendous amount of courage and heart to do this. So I really appreciate that. I have a lot of questions, but I think most of them were asked last year, some forms of it, some variations of it. Although I would argue that most of them were not really addressed. However, I do have a new question which I don't think anyone has asked before. So I want to be clear. What do you think about the ethics of MSA serving prepared food during events on campus when it's actually illegal to do so? So a little bit of background, we have been, as you may know, we have been serving food that we prepare ourselves during our events, but it's actually illegal to do so. So what are your thoughts about it?
What do you mean by illegal? Is it illegal?
It is against the campus rule to do that. If you want to serve food, you must serve it through the catering system like the union. you cannot serve food that are prepared by yourself.
But isn't it arguable that we said that we're not actually serving it in, you were outside and we just like let people take the food and go in? Isn't that
That's like saying, oh, I didn't produce this drug, I just brought it from Mexico.
no, but
That is interesting, but what I can see is that no authorities on campus seem to implement and strengthen that rule. And even as a student myself, I was not aware of that rule, because think about it, if this rule is, if this rule is actually active and ongoing, all these halls that we hold events in, we call it Food Fest, and we call it Malaysian Food Fest, or we call it Taiwanese Food Fest. They would not actually assume that the Wisconsin Union prepared those food. They would definitely know that it is us who prepared those food. And if all this halls person in charge, like the people, like the house fellows, the people who are controlling all these residence halls, even if they don't know that it is illegal, then how else would we know? As just merely students know that it is illegal. Like people who are in charge, they should know that, hey, you holding a food fest that is prepared by yourself in our hall is illegal, and even illegal on the whole campus. But if they have never said this, if they have never even said, implemented that, hey, you shouldn't do this, you should get the Wisconsin Union people to do it, then what more us as students who do not know this law?
That's a really good argument, because it is actually legal to do that, because it's legal to do that in a residence hall, but not when we are doing like, oh, Chinese New Year, we're serving food.
Yes.
In humanities 3650. No, that is not legal. Food fest, yes. In residence hall, yes. That's why they are not against it. But in humanities, no, we don't mention that because it's actually illegal. But no, we haven't been caught up in a situation where we were questioned of doing this or anything like that. But the fact, you cannot say that, oh, because we don't know about this, therefore this law shouldn't be applied to me. Ignorance does not exempt you from the law.
Yes, I understand. And I thought you were referring to the
No.
Food Fest specifically. And now that you say that, your question was, is it ethical to, serve food during, Chinese New Year celebrations and all? I would personally say that,
It's against the rule.
it is against the rule, and this is something that we as a committee and we as an association should improve on. Maybe no associations are perfect. No one here can say that they have done nothing wrong and they have not gone against any rules. But since you brought up this point, and I think this is a very important point, we should implement that in our next committee. We should say, hey, let us think about something that we can do to not go against the rule, something that we can combat this situation. I think Jamie brought up a very good point that all of us, the committee, the new committee, whoever it is, should consider, okay, how do we make things ethical? How do we do things the right way? Yeah.
So if I'm interpreting your response well enough, are you saying that we are not serving food anymore?
That's the thing. That's where brainstorming comes into action. That's where planning and discussion comes into action, where the committees sit down and members give out ideas. Hey, how do we do this? How do we work as a committee? How do we work as an association to do things in the right way? I wouldn't say that we will not serve food. We may change. We may serve Wisconsin Union food, but it depends on what comes out of the committee, and it depends on the discussions that we have.
I want to go off what Rhonda said. So, like, for example, like, maybe we can compromise, like, okay, so we have the event in 3650, or maybe we go to the residence hall to eat, like I said, once we have, like, people will at first complain, like, why do we have to walk all the way here just to eat? But hey, this is the ethical thing to do, and this is the right thing to do. And, like, as fellow MSA members, you do not want the club to close down just because, hey, I'm lazy to walk 30 minutes to eat, right? So, I think one way is by compromising, like, hey, we let the members know, like, I was not aware that like all the events prior to this was I was not aware prior to this, like the Deepawali, when the food was served, I was really not aware that it was illegal to do that. But I wouldn't have mind to walk like 5 minutes, you know, to like maybe the restaurant hall,
Yeah.
you know. But this is where the transparency is a very big thing. So if you tell the members, hey guys, we're not allowed to eat here, but if you want to eat Malaysian food instead of Wisconsin food, hey, we got to walk here. And I'm pretty sure, you know, the members will understand and you know, be able to comply to this. And the way of doing that is like when everybody is having the same goal.
So my response to your question is yes, I think it's unethical. However, it's an open secret that almost every club exploits. However, the wording can be played with. There's a gray area. It says serve food, right? It doesn't say distribute. So we can like use that excuse. Yes, it's unethical. Yes, it's horrible to say that everybody's doing it. That's why we're doing it. But it's the truth, and it's been going on for a few years. I think. I mean, it's the reality. It's what we exploit. So.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes off to like, what do you want as a club? Like, as a club, do you want to follow ethic? Do you want to be ethical, or do you want to go with the loophole? If the whole club is okay with, you know, so everybody's doing it, and you're okay with it, then this is what the situation can be. But if, hey, you know, let's not take the chance. You know, yeah, I know everybody's doing it, but like now, what if your club they decide to single you out and make an example of you? Okay, MSA is closed down. Then what we can do there?
I think my stand would be on ethics. I think it is good to be ethical. So I would go with being ethical, and I would say, hey, you know, like, we are not able to serve these food anymore, but we have a food fest. We can have 2 food fests in a year. If you really miss Malaysian food, that is where you can go. And so we can allow, you know, like, if they really want food, we can get the Wisconsin Union to serve food, or we can totally eliminate that. I don't think it is, it is compulsory to have food for every celebratory event.
Thank you very much. Although I would argue that if you don't serve food during those events, nobody will come.
Okay, nice trick question, Jamie. Next question we have is coming from Zishan.
Okay. I just want to ask, what do you think those who have worked with? I just want to ask, what do you think those who have worked with you would describe you, and how are you going to improve yourself?
So I'd say that people describe me as driven and committed, but slightly authoritative. And I would try to improve myself in the sense that I'll try to open up more and just be more understanding. I'm not saying that I'm not understanding, but I have a tendency to be very strict about things, which I feel like the leader should have, but it should also be balanced with openness and understanding and just cultivating a good environment in the team.
Oh, so I feel that people would say that I'm like a very funny person, but I think one big weakness I have is that people not necessarily take me seriously, and sometimes you know, because I like to joke a lot. So a weakness is sometimes I'm not serious when it's time to be serious. Sometimes I'm a bit late for that train, like, you know, 20 seconds out after it's time to be serious, then I realize, hey, I need to be serious now. So that's one weakness I really need to work upon, which is to be more committed. I mean, like, if I really want to do something, I would do it. But sometimes, you know, I tend to not be serious and like playful. You know, that's just how I am. So that is a very big thing I need to improve on. And also, I mean, my timing is also not very good sometimes.
So I think people would call me someone who is serious, driven, enthusiastic. But one trait that I think that I should really improve on is to be more sociable and to really step out of my comfort zone and talk to people, because yes, I communicate well. Yes, you know, like, when people start talking to me, I'm able to, you know, like, make jokes. But one thing that I really need to improve on is to step out of my comfort zone and really try to get to know people instead of, you know, like, following the flow.
Can you guys give like more specific examples of how you're going to improve? Like, rather than stepping out of my comfort zone, like, what other steps are you actually going to take?
Okay, so that question definitely is kind of catered to me.
I mean, like, for everyone.
Yeah, because, you know, I was the only one who said stepping out of my
Less serious, like, how are you going to improve?
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to start? I start first. I think stepping out of my comfort zone is going to be like participating more in WhatsApp group. I don't know. And maybe that is a very casual way of stepping on. And I think like one way of stepping on is to go to people and ask, so how is it going? You know, like how. I think as a president, if I become a president, like I think I need to really talk to members. Just like how Ming did when, you know, like as of being a president. I think this is one thing that I should learn from him. That he is nice to everyone. There is no cliques. There is no like he doesn't like, you know, he isn't just nice to some people. He isn't just friendly to, you know, like who he know, but he really reaches out to everyone. And I think like in social events, Malaysian events, I should do that. I should really go and talk to people that even like I don't know, but to really try to understand like what's going on with their lives and to know people in general.
Yeah, one more thing I'd like to add to what I think people usually think about me is that I feel that what people usually give me feedback is I always say yes to everything. Like when somebody asks me, can you help me do this? I say, sure. Can you do this? Yeah, sure. I'll say yes to so many things. And then I get overwhelmed and I'm unable to do everything I said that I'm going to do, you know, which is also a very bad flaw. So I feel one way is to, every time when somebody asks me to do something, I need to learn to see, hey, can I really do this? You know, I don't say yes because, you know, I want to help, but if I can't do it, there's no point in saying yes because it's just going to cause like a problem in the end. So one way is by thinking when somebody asks you something, I have to personally think like, hey, can I do this? Do I have time for this? And then to talk back about being more serious, well, it's basically just knowing when to be serious and when not to be serious, so which now is a very serious moment.
Okay, so for me, especially, I think I have to get it in my mind that not everybody operates like how I do. I prefer a very structured environment, a very the kind of workflow, and not many people are used to that. So I think I have to open up more and just be very aware of people's feelings. Ask, say, what do you think of this? How can I improve? Are you okay with this? And I think that's the first step I'll take to improving. Yeah.
Great. So next question from Jishan.
Okay, so just now, all of you three said that Malaysian Night was a feasible event that can be achieved by MSA. So let's take it up one level and say that, okay, so the Chinese Student Association Club, they actually have a discount card that can be used by their members to get discount all over campus. Like you can go to Fugu, you can get 10%. You can go to Madison Cuisine, you can get 10%. And even in the UK, many Malaysian associations in different universities have that system. So do you think that it's actually feasible for us to do it?
I think they have those because they have a lot of Chinese restaurants here and specifically Chinese cuisine. That may be a little challenging for us because there aren't a lot of Malaysian restaurants. I don't think there is like one specific Malaysian restaurant because think about it, our cuisine itself is quite diverse. We have Chinese food, Malay food, Indian food, all these are Malaysian food. So I think your point is, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, shouldn't that broaden your restaurant, variety of restaurants, rather than country, like restricting?
Yeah, okay, so that is very important. That is something that if all members think of it as important, if all members are, for this idea, I think that it is a feasible idea. It is something that is interesting and it definitely would attract more members. But right now, I don't think Malaysians would, Malaysians may spend money outside of campus or like, I know that most Malaysians cook themselves because of pricing problems, and having a 10% would mean a lot, but I don't think it would be a very dramatic change for Malaysians because after a 10% discount, it may still be expensive. So I think that if everyone agrees on it, that is something that we can work towards. However, having discount to all Chinese cuisine restaurants and all Indian cuisine restaurants is challenging, and it can come off as a little impractical as well, but we can definitely work towards that. If that is what Malaysian student association members are up for.
Yeah, I want to go off what Rhonda said. I really agree that in order to do something at this big of a scale, we need everybody to want it. So when you say, will all the Malaysians actually go to these restaurants to eat? We're going to put all this effort for them. But if they do want it, then yes, this is something we'll pursue. But if not, I really feel that what Dishan asked was whether, since Malaysians, we have Chinese food and we have Indian food, wouldn't that be easier for us? But actually, I think of it as no, it is not easier. Because for Chinese restaurants, they go back to China, For Indian restaurants, they go back to India, but Malaysia, not a lot of people know about Malaysia, So like, they will feel like, hey, China and Malaysia is two different countries, okay? And the reason I feel that maybe Chinese clubs are able to do this because, they have like 1.8 billion people. So there's a lot of people and, there's a lot of people on campus. It is worth it for them to, hey, let's do this thing. But if this is what our club wants, if all the Malaysians or the majority of Malaysians, say, hey, you know what, we want to eat the Chinese restaurants and Indian restaurants, this is something we will look into. But I'm not promising that we will be able to do it. But what I can promise is we will do our best in order to help and whatever can help the Malaysians.
So I think as the leadership committee, we have to pick and choose our battles and what we want to do. And I feel like the discount card idea is honestly a very challenging idea because we don't have the student body that the CSSA has in terms of like number and also spending power, as well as like maybe the universities abroad in the UK, there are more Malaysians compared to students here. So I don't think it's feasible and I don't think it's very necessary for a discount card because it's not, we don't have that spending power, we don't have that amount of people to actually need a discount card.
I don't think like everyone here, like if you get like a 10% discount on Chinese food, will you go there regularly? I don't think people would do that if it's just a 10% discount, especially for us Malaysians. So it is important to note that, like Paige said, the spending power and like the student body, do we have that capacity to fulfill that need? And if we want to convince these Chinese restaurants and these Indian restaurants that, hey, we want a discount card for Malaysian students, then we have to hit their target. There would definitely be a target that we have to hit to be able to get this discount. It's not just like, hey, I want to get the discount card. You need to be a very regular, Malaysians need to be very, very regular customers to be able to have this privilege.
Just to follow up to the question, it seems that you guys, all think that this project will be something that is feasible and possible in the future, given that there is demand for it. Even if there is demand for it, do you think that it is still aligned with MSA's core values and missions to its members? I ask because no one seems to have spoken about the club's or the organization's values.
Yeah, so I don't think it's actually worth the trouble, honestly, because I don't think it really has an impact on the MSA values, the MSA goal, and the MSA vision, because honestly, it's just a discount card. What is it doing for our community? Are we eating out more? Okay, so what? So I think in terms of looking at how it's aligned with the MSA values, I don't think it's aligned. I don't think it's a project that we should take on.
Like I was saying that, if that's what the majority of the people want, and if it's really not, and after we talk among ourselves and realize, hey, you know what, this is not worth it, I think it's going back to the people in the club and explaining to them what happened, being very open and being very transparent, and I believe that they will understand, like, hey, we don't actually want this, so that's the way to have everybody aligned together.
So one more question from Jamie.
Okay, so before I ask, is this a final question? No, okay. So before I ask this question, I would like to tell this to Jishan. If you were to ask me that question, I would say definitely no, because more than half of the Malaysian students here cannot eat at those restaurants.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So this is very important because I don't know how are we missing out on that half, which brings me to this question. do you think there exists an internal segregation within the MSA community here? If so, what do you think the problem was and what would you do to remedy it?
Okay, so I think there really is an internal segregation. I think not by race, but by just grouping. Like, as transfer students, you tend to group together because you are in similar circumstances, and as scholarship students, you tend to group together because you're in similar circumstances. So I think it's a barrier that we can work at. I feel like as a Malaysian community, we are together, as in we will talk to each other, but in terms of who we hang out with, who we actually identify with, I think it's very segregated. And in terms of fixing it, I think just bringing the community together and just improving on the relationships, I think that's the only step we can take.
I have to say that I agree in somewhat, but I also say that there is a segregation actually within the race. Not just because, we're racist, but it's just because it is, among the certain race, this is where you brought up, you're more, okay, I'm more used to talking in Chinese, I'm more used to talking in Hindi. So there is a certain part of segregation there. And a way to help us be together is if we are more sensitive to each other, Like when we want to have an event, please don't don't order only beef or don't order only pork. When you do something like that, you're gonna segregate the community bigger. As a community, we have to look at it in a wider picture, which is the whole Malaysia. Everyone, doesn't matter what race. One thing about Malaysia that I realize is that we have many races in it. So in order to do that, we need to be very sensitive in a way that, hey, okay, please be sensitive to each race. But we also need to know that there is definitely gonna be a difference. Like, hey, these people are brought up maybe like this, and these people are brought up like this. But we have to find something common within all of them, which is what we are Malaysians. So okay, all of us eat maybe roti canai. Let's serve roti canai. Okay. So like if you want to have like certain specific events, yeah, we could have that also. Like example, today we want to all eat beef. We can have the event, but we also serve chicken. So that we'll be very sensitive to everyone, and everybody will be happy.
So building on your question, we can see even in this room how many Chinese, how many Malay, how many Indians are there. And it is actually a very interesting figure of how all these different numbers, it shows that there is racial segregation. And I think that it is an issue that needs to be addressed. It doesn't need to be addressed explicitly, but it's something that all of us need to work on. It is something that the committee needs to be inclusive of all three races. It is because this is what we are made of, and it should be like a fair ratio. More people should be involved in the MSA, and by to do that, we really need to reach out to everyone, not everyone, but as many people as we can, and not only people from our own race, but people from other races as well.
Okay, great. One last question from the audience, if there are any. Last one from Jamie. Let's go.
I have a lot. Let's see which one. Last one. Okay. I'll just ask the rest personally. What? You want to ask? Oh, let Jijan answer.
So wait. Let me find my question. Okay. Recently we just organized the annual TJM in Madison, and in your opinion, what were the flaws of the event? And will you actually organize it here again? And if you were the organizing chairperson of the event, what would you have done differently?
I am at a disadvantage because I was not present at the event.
Yeah.
Due to other reasons.
But just like what you see from the marketing.
Oh, just solely the marketing.
Just what do you see in general, as someone as a Malaysian seeing the event, looking at the Facebook page, looking at how it was organized.
Okay.
What did you see that was flawed?
That was flawed.
And what can you improve on?
Okay.
So maybe someone from the committee can answer first to provide some background.
Okay, so both me and Daniel were actually on the TGM committee, so I think that we did the best that we were given. We made full use of our circumstances, and I honestly feel like we came out stronger as a committee, as well as the event was a success. So I'm trying very hard to think of a flaw right now.
Let me go first. I can think of flaws. So when I talk about TJM, I have to say that we really were on a very, very, very rocky start. Okay. So firstly, I have to say that as a committee, we made a mistake when we did not have a common goal and we were not looking at the same thing. Okay. It's like we were not looking at the same thing. Like, okay, this is our goal. Okay, this is our goal, but we were not looking at the same thing. So that was a very big problem. When that happened, some people were putting 20% effort, some people were putting negative 5% effort, some people were not putting any effort, and some people were putting 150% effort. As you can see, the frustration, you know, with people who are putting so much effort and people who are not, that's where the tension builds up. Then when you just, but eventually, obviously, because this is something new to all of us, we eventually managed to go through that problem and managed to find a common goal, which I was really happy. That's why TGM, I would say it was a very good success. And one more problem was because of that, something that happened because of that was that we did not post our event up, we did not publicize it soon enough when another event actually happened, EC Fest actually happened. And then we were like really panicking and we're like, hey, we should have posted it up earlier because now majority of the people are going to go for that instead. So that is one flaw I see that we had. And second thing is double checking. One problem was with our insurance and renting of the renting of the place. So like we were all really panicking when we found out when one of us we went to find out the information, we did not actually get the right information. And I'm not putting blame on anybody, but like, you know, we were all panicking and we were like, whoa, okay, we need this amount of money. But what it turned out to be actually we had some miscommunication and we actually the sum was like maybe like 25% of that only. I can't remember the exact number, but you know, after that, like that was unnecessary stress. And somebody just go and like check again. So I think to be more detailed and to have a common goal. And to say about the event itself, I think that the event went really well, you know, even though I actually played badminton and I really got trashed, but I felt the event was really great.
I think that they presented very internal problems, and that is something that I can't really relate to as I wasn't there. But as an outsider, what I feel about the event is it was great, I guess, but I didn't feel like I could be part of it. Maybe because I was just like, it just felt like you know, like people in the committee, they're gonna like play, and like, you know, like people who are closer to them would be more involved. But like people who are outside, like they didn't felt reached out. They didn't feel like, hey, do you guys even want us to join? So this is one of the feelings that I get, like people outside of, you know, the circle of friends or people outside the group. They would feel like, oh, okay, they're just having this TJM for themselves, for the other schools in the Midwest, and it's not really for us. So that is one of the feelings that I could feel. And bringing back to the marketing, I think it is important for the committee to not only focus on promoting it on Facebook, but really to include people, to ask people, hey, have you joined? And like if people go like, oh, I've not joined, I don't know what to join, then like you know, the committee should give suggestions, you know, or the committee should even nominate like people that you know, hey, do you want to join badminton? Do you want to come run, or do you want to do something with us? Tell us which sport you like, you know, or you know, it can set up a poll and say like, what is your favorite sport? And like for people who play badminton, you can ask like a survey like, oh, is it likely that you would join the badminton tournament if we had one? What are the chances? And if you do not want to join, why do you not want to join? So like all these little logistic things come into picture. These are very important because that would really include MSA and not, you know, exclude the outside, you know, like people outside of the circle. Everyone would feel a part of it.
So I'm trying to separate myself from my viewpoint and looking at it from the outside. I think maybe our biggest flaw was probably like the back and forth that we had to do. We would make an announcement and like, oh, sorry, we can't do that. Here's another way. So I think a big problem of that was like the communication and the direction that we're heading. We were very like messy. So I think that we could have fixed it better by making it more streamlined, go through decisions well, make sure everybody's in line with it, make sure there are no kinks in the process and then just publish it. So I think that was a hindrance to the running of the event, but other than that, yeah.
Okay, great job to the candidates for answering these questions. With that, our debate has come to an end. Our voting will start at 9 p.m. today. If you have more questions, do approach the candidates personally and ask them. And do vote wisely. That is all. Thank you.